This video is about to get very surgical.
Everybody a thug till them lights pull up, and everybody got a gun until ice pull up. A middle finger to the president, cause I ain't too impressed. How the fuck you kicking niggas out? Ain't you niggas guess, so it's death to... So Earl Sweatshirt and Mike, you know what I'm saying? If y'all not familiar with Earl Sweatshirt and Mike, these are two of the dopest lyricists in the game right now. I think Earl Sweatshirt got one of the best pens in the history of this thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a lot of people that can rhyme every syllable for an entire verse, line for line like Earl, and continuously give you value per bar, right? Where his verse is consistently providing some form of value. Each bar in the verse is providing some sort of reaction, reflection, or wanting you to rewind. And Earl is one of those guys where when I think about VPB, he's damn near in that upper echelon of the list, right? He's in that higher percentile of that list. He don't really miss with lines. He makes every line count. Mike is very similar, okay? If you're not familiar with Mike, Mike is very similar. If y'all like lo-fi, right? Lo-fi, which is like not really traditional, I guess, or it's not always gonna have the clean mix or always have the things that, you know, a song is supposed to have. You feel what I'm saying? You might get, it's just a lot of breaking of the rules go on in this genre of hip hop, right? They bend a lot of the structure, and that's one of my favorite things about them. But they just announced that they're dropping a project, right? And the project is 33 songs. Now, what a lot of us thought was that this was going to be like a project where they on every song and the producer is producing the whole thing, right? But in reality, what it seems like is Mike is going to have one half, Earl's going to have another half, and they're going to be featuring here and there. But for the majority of it, it's going to be they thing. You feel what I'm saying? So they ended up dropping a single, right? And actually, I want y'all to know that their raps are very introspective. Their raps are very thought-provoking, reflective, very connected to recognizing certain nuances and interesting things in the world, in the universe, and being able to articulate that in a certain way, or even simple constructs and breaking them down in this like very abstract way, right? Everything about them is abstract. So when they dropped this song and it had, you know, it's produced by Surf, so they have more of a trap feel. The songs have more of a trap feel. You feel what I'm saying? They're less like sample based where it might just be one sample that they rapping over or whatever. This is more like trap inspired. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not saying it sound like Young Thug or nothing like that, but it's like if it's like lo-fi trap. That's the only way I can really describe it, right? It's like abstract trap. And they're still doing the same level of rapping. They're still doing the same level of things that they usually do. But it's caused this level of discourse where people are like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't like this, right? Because they're not rapping over, you know what I'm saying? They're not rapping in the same way that they usually do over the same instruments. And it's not the same, or it's not what people were expecting, right? So it's created this discourse to where people feel like they've sold out that sound in order to move in a different direction. And this is what they had to say about it. I found it very interesting what they had to say about it. Okay, hold on. So they said, when we first posted the Pompeii utility, I feel like niggas were like, yo, bro, they had a spiritual awakening. Then they saw the Surf Gang shit and half the fan base was like, all right, we out. Earl responds by saying the real hip hop fans are about to be off. To some people, this might be the weakest shit we've ever dropped. Right. And I'm going to read this before we keep going, because there's a lot to say about this, right? Mike says, I got a funny theory. When we first posted the Pompeii utility shit, blah, 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 and Earl responds. Mike responds to that by saying, some people see the range we have, but then the purists are like, Earl responds, how could you do this? These niggas rapping on beeps and boops, right? Mike responds by saying there were two types of people when they learned Surf Game was missing the third member. Some people were excited, which I think is the majority, but I know some hip hop head was like, all right, that's not necessarily what I'm looking for. Earl responds by saying it's going to fuck somebody's year up for a second, and then somebody else is going to come and make their year better. Now, first of all, I love the commitment to what they're doing. You feel what I'm saying? They're not letting the audience dictate what they're doing. They're creating what they want to create, and the people fall into it the way they do. And the thing is, Mike and Earl have been doing that, so they're so comfortable in just, we're going to do whatever we want to do. Our shit is already abstract. It's already not for, the mass or whatever. Our shit is abstract. So when you look at it from that perspective, the interesting thing about hip-hop discourse right now, right? And I think a lot of people would even put me in this category, which if you do, you just don't know enough, or maybe I haven't shown you enough. But it's the purist conversation, right? The rap purist conversation. There are some people, right, who just wanted to see the elements of the purity of hip-hop, right, back in the mainstream in the mainstream limelight. That's what you would consider me as, I believe. I believe that I think that GNX is revolutionary because everything that Kendrick did leading up to the battle with Drake, right? I mean, not leading up, but in the battle with Drake. You dropping a 7-minute diss track over 3 beat switches, you know what I'm saying? You get on Meet the Grams, another scathing situation, character assassination, and then you drop the banger, right? I feel like a lot of people's ears started turning and wanting something different. Same thing with GNX. I think GNX set a certain precedent to where people wanted to focus more on the quality of their albums, on the quality of what they're producing. That's not to say that nobody was doing it. That's to say that you weren't really seeing that at the top of the game, right? At the top of the game, you weren't really seeing that a whole lot. You were seeing a lot of microwave stuff, boom, 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 which we're going to talk about that too. But that doesn't, right? And then when Let God Sort 'Em Out comes out, it's for the purists, I think. I think it's rap at its purest form with the instrumentals, with the all of that. And I think that's why people loved it so much. And then, you had other projects come out where it's very focused on the lyricism, etc. Boom, boom, boom. Now, this, I think, just we awakened, right? Because once again, and in this discourse, especially on YouTube, we like to pretend like some things are happening for the first time for the sake of boldening the narrative, right? When in reality, a lot of this stuff has been out here. The internet has just put a different scope on it. So the rap purist has always been around. The rap purists who only want to focus on the purities of hip hop, the bars, the boom, boom, all that, that's been around. Now, where that conversation gets murky, right, is some purists think that anything outside of that is no longer hip-hop, or anything outside of that is going against the grain of what should be happening right now. It's the same thing like when Kendrick Lamar got on the Playboi Carti album. When Kendrick Lamar got on the Playboi Carti album and he did Mojo Jojo, Backdoor, and what was the other one? On the top of my head, I can't remember the name. But when he got on them tracks and he's doing this thing, you feel what I'm saying? And I hear the song, but I can't remember the name. Who them does? I don't know, but I'm bad with names sometimes. But when people heard him on that song, they felt like he was contradicting everything that he was saying in Watch the Party Die. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, so you not really understanding what's going on here fully, right? It's not that every song that comes out can't be about sex and all the different stuff. You can't rap about that ever again. That's humanity. That's a part of our human experience, right? It can't be about money. Boom, boom. Another thing that's a part of our human experience. Like, yes, you can rap about these things. I think the purists have confused that with this is the only thing that should be coming out. Now, of course, some of that conversation was produced by Drake fans and boom, and all that different stuff too, at the attempt of pushing a narrative against whatever they deem is going on. But in reality,
right? There's purists that exist in that way too. And they always have. What I argue is that Watch the Party Die isn't an indication of this is the only thing we need to rap about. In reality, hip-hop has its subgenres and it should. Us trying to kind of like cage certain artists to only doing this one thing or only doing this thing, right, is like you taking away the ability or the aspect of the duality of the genre, in my perspective. There are subgenres in this thing. There are, right, like I love listening to what they call the underground now, which the underground now has been given a sound rather than it just being underground music for whatever. But, you know, even like Young Chris, the Yeats of the world, BK, the list goes on. Like that sound that's been coming out recently where it almost like a rock star slash, you know, Lil Uzi-esque type thing, Playboi Carti-esque type thing. I love that when it's fire too, right? Anything if it's fire, it's fire. That's how I enjoy music. If it's fire, it's fire, right? Now, of course, I want you to have some diversity in your subject matter, which is what Earl and Mike are doing. Which is why when they said, oh, the spirit people, the people who said, oh, I thought they had a spiritual awakening. They about to come out on some spiritual awakening shit. But then they turn around and give you some trap shit. Now people is like, this is not what I was expecting because this doesn't go with the purity of hip hop that I'm expecting to be pushed at this current time, right? My thing is this. Earl and Mike have already shown you they can do that. They've already shown you that a lot. And they've been showing you that. So because of that, they've earned the grace of going in this direction. Now, of course, it still got to be fire, right? And I don't think they care if people think it's fire or not. But as a listener, it's still got to be fire, of course. But I think that's what it's about. How much intention are you putting into it? Now, if you just mailing it in and making songs about sex, drugs, and more, you just mailing it in, and that's all you rapping about, then yes, I have a problem with that. I think you should have some diversity considering the fact that you're a human being, and I know for a fact that you have more experiences and understanding in this life than just that, okay? I can understand that in a certain point in your life, that's all you're talking about. I'm fine with that. But for your whole career, okay, my guy, now it just feel like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, come on. So from that perspective, I understand what Earl and Mike is talking about because there are a lot of people that felt like there's an issue with what they're doing. Not that they don't like the sound, not that they don't like the music, not that they don't think it's good, but the fact that they aren't rapping over, you know, these, you know what I'm talking about, what the typical Earl and Mike sound, if you've heard it, right? I would like to say that I think when an artist earns that diversity, they should be given the grace to create that diversity. You can't say like, oh, I don't even want it, boom, boom, boom. Well, you can't say it. But you got to give the room for these artists to bend the genre. And the crazy thing is, the song that Earl and Mike dropped was fire. But that's because I like that music. You feel what I'm saying? I came up searching for gems on SoundCloud. I came up discovering, you know, I remember listening to Simon and Chester Watson, and that's all I was listening to. A lot of people wonder why you not tapped in with certain mainstream acts, like mainstream acts I should be tapped into. And that's because most of the time I was listening to what y'all would call the underground, right? I was listening to all the underground shit. It was a point where I barely was listening to mainstream shit unless it was somebody who came from the underground, really, or had those underground elements. You feel what I'm saying? So I already tapped in. I'm tapped in with the 1 minute and 20-second songs. I'm tapped in with the 2-minute songs. I'm tapped in with Earl and Mike not enunciating all their words. I'm tapped in with just a random ass distorted sample flipped backwards is the only thing that you rap into. I've done that myself. I've also participated in creating that type of music. So when I hear Earl and Mike get on these surf beats and bend it, still doing the same thing they doing. Earl is still rapping the same way he rapping. It is a different flow pattern. He's still rhyming syllable for syllable in the whole verse. He's still giving introspective bars. He's still giving a new perspective in certain bars, right? He's still breaking down simple constructs and making them bigger, right? He's still taking bigger constructs and making them smaller. Mike is doing the same thing. It's not changing what they're doing. It's just a different sound. So people are more focused on the sound than what is being delivered, right? And a lot of people would argue, well, you're one of those people too. I would argue, no the fuck I'm not. I'm not, as a matter of fact. Really not. The music that I listen to, the hip hop that I listen to, is very diverse. I listen to V's. I listen to, I was there for the whole Yeet run, the 2019 to 2022. I was there for the whole run, the whole time, and it was fire. You feel what I'm saying? I was there for the XXXTentacion early. You feel what I'm saying? I was there for Ski Mask. I was there for all of that. You feel me? So it's not that just because I want to see more purity at the highest level doesn't mean that that's all I want to see. You see what I'm saying? That's just I want to see it at the highest level. And the artists who can't produce that, right? There's nothing wrong with creating commercial songs, creating pop songs, boom, boom, boom. But if that's all you can do, and that's all you've been capable of doing for a minute, then I'm looking at it like, okay, you lost the ability and the touch of the origins of hip hop. You got to be able to do both, or just do the purity of hip hop. That's how I see it. You feel what I'm saying? So, I feel like this is exposing certain the discourse in hip hop in general, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like, you know, for the sake of a narrative, oh, this is brand new and something has to be done. No, this has been a part of hip hop forever. The only difference is now it's the internet, right? And everybody can talk about it. That's the only difference, bro. So, really, we just get to have more nuanced conversations about hip hop that aren't so doom and gloom all the time. And I ain't gonna lie. As somebody who has participated in that, I'm not sitting here acting like I have not. But in reality, a lot of this stuff is not new. A lot of this stuff has been happening, and it's been happening forever. The only difference is it's being seen now. People can see it on the internet. This type of discourse has always been around. Always. Always. I remember when Hopsin was coming out and everybody hating Wayne. I remember even looking at Wayne a little differently when certain artists was coming out and critiquing that certain shit at that time. You feel what I'm saying? I remember listening to Mortal Technique and looking at the industry a little differently. I remember, like, all of this stuff is come on. I remember being the kid that's like, oh, 90s hip hop or nothing. Like, I remember being and experiencing that. So you can't sit here and try to convince me that any of this stuff is new. Any of it is because of the internet and new. No. Common sense first. You feel what I'm saying? You can't do that. So, I really appreciate what Mike and Earl are doing. I'm excited for the album. It's coming out in April sometime. I think I can't remember the date. I think it's like April 3rd. I plan on doing a listening party on my Twitch. So y'all feel free to come through and listen, especially if it's your first time. You feel what I'm saying? And I'll be breaking down what they're doing. You feel what I'm saying? By then, for sure. Y'all know what we got coming. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. We're going to do more conversations like this. You feel what I'm saying as well. And, yeah, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day, all right? Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're new here, especially if you've been here. If you haven't heard my song, F Ice, go stream it. You feel what I'm saying? I got it in the pinned comments. I got it in the description. Click on it. Check it out. And, yeah, you feel me? Simple. But, all right, I'm going to catch y'all, man. Y'all have a good day.